Hello and welcome back to the Jessica Pinili podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be speaking about self-sabotage. And this seems to be a conversation that I'm having a lot over the past couple of weeks with not only my clients, but my friends as well. And we haven't done an updated self-sabotage episode on the podcast in a hot minute. So I thought that I would bring to you what it actually means, what it actually looks like, why we do it, and a few tips and tricks, steps that you can start to integrate, because the most important part is I don't want you to walk away from this episode and go, oh my God, I feel so seen. I feel so heard. This is exactly me. And then nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I want you to really understand what you're consuming in this episode, and after it, think, what am I actually doing to change what I feel seen about? All of the things that I talk about today in regards to self-sabotage, and I say this to my clients, I say this to my friends, make sure that you take it, you understand what it means for you, and then you start to look at how can I make micro changes. That's the biggest thing. I just want to preface this episode with saying it's really, really easy to consume a topic or consume anything around the topic of self-sabotage and tell yourself that you're doing the work and tell yourself that you feel seen and tell yourself that you are making leeway with your goals and your ambitions, and then nothing actually changes. So this isn't going to happen for you, because I know you're going to take away what I say, go implement it, go integrate it. But before we get started, at time of recording, we are kickstarting the launch phase of Woman Mastery HQ. This is my 12-month hybrid membership. It is for brand founders, business owners, corporate women looking for a pivot. Woman Mastery HQ really is my life's work. This is where we blend not only the strategy, but the subconscious mastery to create the income, the money, the wealth that you desire. All of the details are going to be in the show notes below, but we are currently in the launch phase where you can join the waitlist. You can get a bunch of bonuses. This is really for you if you are looking for a support system over the next 12 months to not only double your income, double your impact as well, double your influence, and be able to become a more balanced human where you feel that you can trust yourself no matter what. You don't feel like you are going to burn it all down the moment that you have a slow season or the moment that lifes, because it will. Trust me, it will. I've been in business 6 years now, and you really can't prepare for when life starts to happen. But I found that if you build your subconscious, your nervous system, your identity in a way that supports you during those moments, it feels doable. It doesn't feel like you need to crash and burn. And so this is why I've created Woman Mastery HQ. It's not just come into the membership, do a bunch of trainings, and away we go. That's boring. That doesn't work. And that doesn't teach you anything. We not only have the curriculum, but you have support with live audits, coaching. You have coaching for both business strategy and coaching for subconscious mastering. You have Q&As, and it is just the best system for you to be supported in 12 months. I'm so proud of this. I was speaking and showing my partner the finishing touches before I made the sales page live, and I'm just so freaking excited to open a space where I can reach hundreds of you, quite literally hundreds of you, and be able to support you in different ways when it comes to your money goals, your business goals, and your self goals. So if you're like, okay, I need this support, or I want to learn more, click the first link in the description box below. But let's get into today's episode. Self-sabotage. What is it? Why do we do it? If we break it down super simply, our body is wired to survive. It's been like that since caveman times and probably beyond caveman times. So if we are wired to survive, we are not wired to experience success, to have success. And so think about your life, your business, your career, your money, your relationships, your health right now. Everything that you are experiencing is a pattern. That pattern is your survival pattern. It is what your body is used to. Now, as I said, for Women Mastery HQ, there are 2 layers to it. We not only have this strategy, but we have this subconscious mastery. Subconscious mastery is all about, number 1, your belief system, what you believe to be true about the world and yourself and money, etc. And then your nervous system's capacity. What is your capacity to experience dysregulation, aka change? So I'm kind of going to be touching on that in today's episode as well. Now, going back to what I said, anything that you want to experience outside of what you currently are is a stressor on your identity, on your nervous system, on your body. And because our body is wired for survival, it will do whatever it can to stop you from actually experiencing what you perceive as success, but your body perceives as a threat. So I'll give some really tangible examples before we start working through this so you can kind of follow. Let's say you're in your business and you are making $10,000 a month and you have been doing that for the past 6 months. You have been doing everything you possibly can to actually get to $15,000 months. And it seems like no matter what, you are always hitting that $10,000, hovering around that $10,000 a month. Maybe a client drops off, maybe an unexpected bill comes on. Every time you think you're going to go beyond that, maybe you got a bigger tax bill than you thought you would. And no matter what, you are going back to 10,000. That's one example. Let's do another before I explain them. Let's say you are trying to lose 5 kilos in the gym and you've been doing all of the things. You've been working out, you even hired a personal trainer, you are eating the food, following a meal plan, and it seems like it is just a grind. It is a grind. And no matter what, you can't seem to get to your goal weight, right? Let's just say your goal weight is 65 kilos. Let's say no matter what, you can't get to that 65 kilos. Another example, relationship-wise. You dated, let's say you had an ex a couple of years ago, and there were certain things that came up why you broke up that you thought, never again, I'm not going to repeat that. Then you started dating, and it seems like every time that you were going on a date with someone who you feel has potential, they start to show signs of having traits, doing things that your ex did that you no longer want in a relationship. But if you feel like no matter what you were doing when it comes to your dating profile, when it comes to having honest conversations with the people you're dating, you're just attracting the same type of person. These are all examples of when we have a baseline. That is our survival of attracting the same thing. And if we try to go beyond that, we sabotage, which I'll explain in depth in a second. Now, I need to say that a lot of the content out there kind of paints self-sabotage as this really, really like hectic, bad thing. We perceive it as bad because we get frustrated with ourselves as a high achiever, high performer of not getting the results we want. And we say, I keep sabotaging, I keep doing X, Y, Z, which I'll give examples in a moment, and we get frustrated. So we as a collective, we start to perceive it as a really, really negative thing. But I just want you to kind of flip that for a moment and understand that your body is quite literally doing what it's wired to do, survive. And so attracting someone that isn't like your ex is beyond survival because it's beyond the survival pattern. You're not used to that. Attracting $15,000 instead of $10,000 and keeping that and maintaining that and feeling safe with that is beyond your survival baseline. Getting to 65 kilos is, again, beyond, for all the examples, beyond your survival baseline. And so even though we perceive as a collective that self-sabotage is a bad thing, and I'm doing quotation marks on camera, it is actually our body just doing its job. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, that's all well and good, but I don't want to experience those survival patterns anymore. I don't want to keep doing what I've always been doing. And something that I want to point out is, remember, the pattern isn't random. It's protection. It's protection for you, for your nervous system, for your identity, for your experience in life. Now, to get beyond that, we need to actually, number one, recognize what our self-sabotaging tendencies are and when they actually pop up. And I've written down a few. How many have I written down here? 5. All right, let's go through the examples I have. So, example number 1, the pattern. You suddenly slow all momentum because it doesn't feel aligned right now. Have you ever had that, like in life or business? You're like, oh my God, got momentum. And then all of a sudden you tell yourself it's not aligned. The disguise is that you're just trusting divine timing. But the reality is you're avoiding the discomfort of the visibility, the responsibility, or scale you've been asking for. This is a very, very common one where we kind of tell ourselves, I just need to wait for the right moment. I need divine timing. But you're actually just avoiding the discomfort of what comes beyond that. Remember, in simple terms again, we are avoiding the success beyond what we perceive as success, beyond what we are experiencing. So again, very tangible for us. If we're hitting $10,000 a month, every month for the past 6 months, but we want 15,000, we have internalized that success for us is hitting $15,000 a month. And so when we sabotage that, like with this, you suddenly slow the momentum and you're trusting divine timing. The reality is you're uncomfortable about the responsibility that you believe happens or comes with having $15,000. So that's kind of example number 1. Number 2, the pattern may be you delay launching, posting, pitching, doing something until you have the perfect plan, the perfectionist. Trust me, I get this one. I used to be the biggest perfectionist ever. The disguise is that you're just setting yourself up for success. So you're delaying yourself, you're delaying. You keep putting off, pitching to your boss that you want to get promoted or launching that product that you've been working on for past few months. The reality, perfectionism is masking your fear of being judged at your next level. So that's example number 2, the perfectionism trap. This is a huge one where we don't even realize and we internalize the name of I'm just a perfectionist. And then you look back on the past few weeks, the past few months, and nothing has really changed because you keep delaying it. Example number 3, pattern. Just as things start working, you tear down your office, you rebrand your entire life, or you rewrite everything. You just start to tear it all down and you burn it to the ground. The moment things start to work. The disguise is you're evolving to match your vision. I see this a lot with women I work with who are hitting high income months. The moment it starts to work to get to the next high income month, they all of a sudden need to start evolving. They all of a sudden need to start doing things differently to match their vision when it was actually just about to work. We just needed to hold the discomfort, which I'm going to discuss more after this. So the reality here is you're self-sabotaging by creating busy work that lets you avoid sustaining success. Have you ever created busy work so it makes you feel like you're doing something, it makes you feel like you're achieving something, but then if you were to zoom out and bird's eye view your life, your business, etc., nothing's actually been achieved. Everything that I'm sharing, these examples, I see so often. I've seen it myself as well. I've definitely been here. The moment it starts to work, it's like, okay, let's restart everything. And you just you avoid sustaining that success. Next example, pattern. You back out of opportunities because you need to protect your energy. Your disguise is I'm honoring my boundaries. The reality, you're actually protecting yourself from the stretch of being seen and leading at a bigger capacity. This one's a little harder to recognize because sometimes we can really fall into the trap of believing that we need to set these boundaries or we need better boundaries or, we need to just protect our energy. And I think this requires, overall, recognizing self-sabotage requires you to use discernment. Do you actually really need to set a boundary and protect your energy? Or are you, and I put it here, are you actually just protecting yourself from stretching? Are you protecting yourself from a bigger capacity and you don't even know it? And then the last example I've done here, this is big. I'm guilty of this one. Pattern. You spend weeks or months learning instead of executing. Disguise. I'm being intentional and strategic. Reality. You're avoiding the vulnerability of taking action that could succeed or fail. Remember, failure is just feedback. It's not a bad thing. Don't perceive it as a negative thing. It just equals feedback. Let's say you have two options, A and B. You choose B. B fails. Great, you've got feedback. Now let's go and do A and let's do it really well. So that's just a side note on that. This is big, just learning, and not implementing, not integrating, not doing anything with how you're educating yourself. You can be the most self-aware, most intellectual, most educated person when it comes to your business, your job, your life, money. But if you're not actually implementing and integrating those things, it doesn't matter. And you stay in the loop. And so these are some examples, and I just want you to really recognize, do you see yourself in those examples? Do you see yourself in all of those examples? And now let's tie this into what I said a little earlier about the discernment. How do I know that I need these things? Like I need to educate myself, or I need to do a bit more research, or I do actually need to tear down this offer because it's not working, versus I'm just sabotaging. The first thing is to really sit with what you perceive is going to happen if you succeeded in what you're doing. If you succeeded in hitting a $15,000 a month, what does that mean to you? Like what's actually coming up in your body? What is the first thing? Maybe it's the excitement, but then do you think about the responsibility? Do you think you can't handle it? Do you think that's going to be too much? Do you have the belief that's tied to, I have to work harder? This is why I do the subconscious mastery work, because it's two layers, your beliefs and your nervous system's capacity. When it comes to the weight loss example, do you feel that you're afraid of what people are going to say about you? Are you afraid you're not going to be accepted? And so the moment you get close, you sabotage. The moment you start seeing the weight come off, you have a big weekend of drinking and eating shit. And then you fall back into the loop of, oh my God, the guilt loop. Why did I do that? Let's try harder and harder. And so you keep feeding back that you need to work harder. The relationship one, when it starts to get really, really good, do you just all of a sudden create chaos to feed back to the story to you that I don't deserve love, or I can't trust men or women, whoever you're dating? You need to sit with and understand how your sabotage patterns are coming up. It's really, really easy to say, I sabotage. I know I'm in this loop because I sabotage. That's awareness. But it's harder to actually recognize how you were sabotaging and the reason behind it. And you will not be able to move forward and rewire your baseline. Remember, our body is built for survival. We're at this current baseline. We need to rewire what that baseline is and make our body feel safe to hold that capacity, and know that you can hold it, and know that it is something that is, you don't need to shrink to go back to what's familiar. You can get to that next level, whatever you perceive the next level is. But the first thing is sit with it. Whatever you were trying to succeed, whatever you were trying to bring into your life, more wealth, more visibility, more friends, whatever it is, more fame. And then I need you to recognize, what are the actions? Like, get very, very tangible with the actions that you are taking. So again, for example, we'll go back to the money one. Maybe every single time that you are getting close to signing, let's say you are at the example again, $10,000, you want $15,000. Let's say you're so close to signing a client who's been in your DMs for $5,000. You're about to hit that $15,000 a month. And then the moment that the client has DM'd you back and said, yup, great, let's set this up. I would love to work for you. I'll do the pay in full option, $5,000. Maybe you see that on a Friday night and you tell yourself, it's the weekend, I'll reply on Monday, or yeah, they can wait. Or maybe you start to freak out, or maybe you start to tell yourself, I can't handle that. And then you go into a spiral, and then you ghost them, or you reply late. And by the time you reply, they've changed their mind, or they say, actually, I think I'm going to go with someone else. Right? The sabotaging action in that is you not responding, you not overriding your body, quite literally telling you don't respond, because if you respond, you're going to succeed. And that success is something we don't like. We being our body, our identity, our subconscious, our nervous system, we don't like that, because we have been surviving at $10,000 a month. That's what you're used to. Now, I did the weight loss one, you start overeating, you start going drinking, sabotage behavior. And let's say the relationship one. Again, the moment it's starting to get really, really good, you start to create chaos. You start to pick fights. You start to do things that is going to cause disruption in the flow of the relationship. And then when it doesn't work, you kind of go, see, I knew I couldn't attract this relationship. I knew that I wasn't meant for a good man, a good woman. And then you go back in the loop of just surviving with the same pattern. All of this type of stuff is exactly what the second layer of Woman Mastery HQ goes through, because it's important. It's not so much to just reprogram to feel good with, money or, affirmations and all of that. That's surface level. It's about understanding the fears you hold, the success that you want to attain, and how you are pushing it away. Why your body actually does not feel safe holding the success that you want. This is exactly what we work through in Woman Mastery HQ. But for you is understanding, write it down. The work is, when I do episodes like this, that's not like the strategy, business, money based, but it's more of this subconscious mastery stuff. I really highly encourage you to listen to this once and then come back and then listen to it again. So get really tangible. Number one, recognize, sit with it. What's coming up the moment for your goals? Where are you at? The easiest way, break down on a piece of paper 4 quadrants. You've got career or business, money, relationships, health, wellness. Break that down. So simple. Then I want you to write, let's just do it with one goal or intention for each one. Business, maybe goal is to have 25 clients and you're currently at 10. So write current 10, goal 25. Do that for each section. Just do one for now. Right? Maybe, again, money, you're getting $20,000 a month and you want $50,000. Then I want you to look at this quadrant that you've written down and stare at each section and really understand and write this down, how it makes you feel. What's the uncomfortable? What actually comes up? Envision that you are about to achieve it. Feel it in your body. Most people want to work past their self-sabotage, but they don't feel it in their body. They don't allow it to come up so they understand what is happening. Why do I feel like that? And if we don't understand that, we'll never be able to work through that. Now, once you understand that, let's break down exactly your actions per each of these goals, per the quadrant, the actions you take to sabotage. What is a sabotaging action? Maybe you've promised yourself let's go with the losing weight one. Maybe you've promised yourself that you would do a workout 5 times a week and you're only going 2 times. What happens? What do you tell yourself? Where are you setting yourself up for success? Do you know that you operate better in the afternoon to do a workout, but you fill your afternoons with social or work or busy work, so you actually don't get to the gym? That would be sabotaging. This takes a bit of time. Don't rush this. Don't think you're going to have the answer in 5 minutes. Being able to recognize exactly what you were doing to sabotage is going to be absolute key. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And most people don't want to actually look at their behavior. We can feel into it, we can understand, but we need to look at what we are choosing every single day. That's how we work through sabotage. And so once we do that, if we run with that example I just gave, okay, I know I operate better to work out in the afternoons, yet every afternoon I am filling it with going to a coffee with a friend, or I'm filling it with meetings. No, I'm going to move that to the mornings and block out and go in the afternoon now. This is the changes we have to make. I know some of you are going to listen or watch this and go, this seems too good to be true, or this seems easy. Yeah, it can be easy, but people don't do it. People don't implement, they don't integrate, and they wonder why they are repeating the same patterns over and over and over again. Let's see if I've written anything else. But I think that when you learn to understand what expansion feels like and looks like in your body, and then you understand the differences between the patterns and behavior, if you were to write your pattern of not achieving the money that you want every single month, what would that pattern look like? And then what would the pattern look like if you were to achieve the money you want from your business every month. It's just getting very visceral, getting very tangible, understanding the moment it clicks in. That's a really helpful one that's helped me. When does it actually click in? So is it in the afternoon? Is it the moment that you get a DM? Is it the moment you start to look at your emails? And it's crazy how simple this is, because it's just about us. It's about what we are doing on a day-to-day basis. It's about our behaviors. It's about our patterns. It's getting to know us. But most people don't want to get to know themselves because it's too icky or too much or too overwhelming. They just want to experience the success without actually going internal. That's why it's a big part of Woman Mastery HQ. You have to do the internal work. Break up the quadrants. Understand what you feel when you look at both where you're at in your goal or intention. Understand the patterns as you move towards it. Do you ignore DMs? Do you create content and you don't post it? Do you avoid the gym? Do you go to the shops and instead of buying the food that's going to help you, you buy something else? Instead of saving for the amount of money, do you instead go on a shopping spree every week and justify and say that you've earned it and you'll start saving next week or investing next week? Do you say you want better boundaries in your relationships, but every time a friend texts you, you drop everything you're doing and help them straight away no matter what, and then you get resentful? Like, what are your patterns? What are your patterns? One other way you can look at this is doing a time audit, quite literally auditing your time in 15-minute increments for an entire week. I know right now you're probably like, oh my God, every 15 minutes. Trust me. Either record it on a Google Sheet, that's what I do, or record it on your phone notes, whatever easier. But every 15 minutes, look at what you're doing. Because a lot of people will say, I'm working towards this goal, and then you look at how they're spending your time and it says the exact opposite. You will see. How often are you scrolling? How often are you socializing when you said you're going to lock in on your business? How often are you creating content versus not creating content for your business? How often are you working on the projects to get a work promotion? How often are you actually working out? What are you actually doing? You say you want better sleep and you realize that you're sleeping three hours a night. Get to know you. I think the heart of this entire episode really is getting to know yourself. This is how you build self-trust. If you don't have self-trust, you have nothing, because you can't trust yourself. You can't trust yourself to do anything, to follow through. This is how you start building self-trust. You understand what you're working toward, what success is to you. You understand what your survival baseline is, which basically is what you're experiencing right now, because your body, your nervous system, your subconscious has internalized that as survival. I mean, I hope that you're a different person from 5 years ago, but just think about 5 years ago. That used to be your baseline. That used to be your pattern, your experience. So you can change. There's evidence right there. But look at that. Understand that. Understand your patterns, your behaviors, what you choose. It's not going to, your self-sabotaging patterns are not going to change overnight. Remember, there is going to be so much resistance because your body doesn't like change. Your body doesn't like to do things differently. It sees it as a threat. When I'm doing something differently, when I recognize I'm sabotaging and I know I need to do something differently and I'm welcoming in a different result, I quite literally sit there, hand on my heart, and I say to my body, it is safe. It is safe. It's okay. We can do this. It is safe. And I get up sometimes and I shake out the energy in my body, move the energy in my body. And I quite literally, it's safe, I can do this. And sometimes I insert whatever action I'm taking. Again, it seems so simple, but I promise you, you go away and you start to 30 days, do everything I said. Do everything I said. And then come slide into my DMs and tell me how you go. This is understanding sabotage. Instead of getting frustrated with yourself and being in a victim mentality, this is the work that's going to change it. Anyway, I hope that you have gotten so much from this episode. I really enjoyed this one. I would love to hear your thoughts, what you need to work on, any questions that you have. If you're watching on YouTube, put them in the comments below. If you're listening to this, send me a DM. I love connecting with all of you from the podcast. It means so much to me, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.